You are listening to a story on Sirio Stories, where your IQ is always respected. Enjoy the story. I accidentally discovered the wife I had just married 3 days ago was a reborn person. But she came back to life. Not to make amends to me, but to abandon me and run back to her impoverished childhood sweetheart. Even our diamond engagement ring the size of a pigeon's egg, she wanted to snatch it away to give to him as their token of love. She even said directly, "In the previous life, my biggest regret was marrying you, allowing my love to be defiled by your money." However, she thought that in this life I would still be like the previous one, giving up everything for her, kneeling and begging her not to leave. She didn't know that this time, I only wanted to personally witness her being tormented by poverty, having to humble herself and beg everywhere for $300,000 in medication costs. Now, facing the divorce papers she threw at me, I signed my name without hesitation. I had just gotten off work and planned to have intimacy with my wife, when the person who was always obedient and sensible suddenly became cold and distant. A sequence of words appeared before my eyes. The female protagonist has been reborn. She finally understands how tragic the life she chose in the previous life was. In this life, she can finally achieve a fulfilling ending with her childhood sweetheart. If not for the urgent need for money, she wouldn't have rushed to marry this man. It's all the male supporting character's fault. If not for him, the female protagonist would have been with the male lead long ago. I looked up, meeting Diana's cold face. Her eyes were resolute. "I want a divorce." I chuckled softly, my voice full of sarcasm. "Diana, are you mistaken? We just got married 3 days ago. Now you're talking about divorce?" She looked at me calmly. The usual naive, obedient look gone. She exuded a noble, composed demeanor, and the undisguised disgust in her eyes when looking at me was evident. "Speaking frankly is better for both of us. You probably know well who I love. From now on, my tuition for the senior year, and my mother's medical expenses, I will figure out myself." The comment section floating on the screen continued. "The female lead is so cool. She's standing firm. Is she directly confessing to the childhood sweetheart now? Don't love too recklessly. Female lead. That male supporting character must be furious." Clearly, 3 days ago, Diana was wearing a custom-made wedding dress, swearing before a crowd of guests that she would love me forever. Her eyes were gentle then, a smile on her lips, making me think I was the luckiest man in the world. "Fine, I'll send you the divorce papers tomorrow." She was slightly surprised, apparently not expecting me to agree so quickly. But immediately after, as if afraid I might change my mind, she quickly packed her bags and left immediately. Looking at the increasingly dense comments, I gradually realized the truth. I was the biggest villain in this novel. Someone who used money to force Diana to be with him. A typical rich young master. In the previous life, after marrying me, Diana had the money to continue her studies, the money to treat her parents' illnesses, and even after graduation, using the name daughter-in-law of the Wayne family, she established herself in the entertainment industry. But when she became famous, her childhood sweetheart, Bruce, had long since held another woman's hand and entered into marriage. Carrying that regret, her resentment towards me deepened, believing that I was the one who destroyed their relationship. Even when pregnant with my child, she refused to rest, always looking for ways to abort the baby. Even when the child was finally born, it couldn't escape being hated and tormented by its own mother. Afterward, she was indifferent to me for 40 years. And I always thought she was just suffering from postpartum depression. When I was on my deathbed, I held her hand and said, "Next life, I will definitely take good care of you." And she looked at me, her eyes full of hatred. "The thing I regret most in this entire life is marrying you." I carried that look of deep sorrow, dying with my eyes wide open, looking at the incessantly flashing words. I frowned. Yes, I am from a rich family. Yes, I used money to acquire Diana. But did Diana truly have no other choice? I gave a faint, cold smile, turned around and called my parents. "Dad, Mom, I was wrong. I shouldn't have married Diana. Is the project with the Parker family still an option?" I agree to the marriage alliance. Yes, Diana and I are divorced. At the soonest, I can remarry in a month. The comments reappeared. Huh? Why did this evil male supporting character agree so quickly? He's even proactively seeking a marriage alliance with another family's young lady. He probably just wants to provoke the female lead. That type of simp accepting to marry someone else? Unbelievable. I remained silent, watching the comments scroll past without saying a word. A loyal dog, huh? I gave a cold laugh. I immediately called my close friends. Where is Peter these days? I'm coming to find you. A slurred voice on the other end replied. Oh dear, a distinguished guest. Didn't you say you wouldn't come to these places after getting married? I sneered and walked into the bar. And coincidentally, ran into Diana and Bruce. In a secluded corner, Bruce, wearing his work uniform, was sitting on the sofa, while Diana gently said, Bruce, I told you to just focus on studying. I'll figure out the tuition money. Then she took out a stack of cash from her pocket and placed it on the table. Take this for now. Bruce didn't refuse. His eyes were full of deep affection. I know in your heart there's only me, Diana. Even though you married Luffy, I'm still the one you love the most. Diana hugged Bruce's neck, overwhelmed with joy. I walked in, not betraying any emotion. As soon as Bruce saw me, he pushed Diana away. Diana, it seems Luffy hasn't forgotten you. This opportunity for a high-paying part-time job was only possible because you introduced me. Diana glanced at me in surprise, then immediately regained her arrogant, profound demeanor. Having agreed to divorce, there's no need to cling to me, is there? I gave her a look and said softly. Don't be so conceited. Diana sneered. A dead bird still twitters. Then she changed her tone, calling out sweetly. Bruce, don't go to work anymore. I'll support you from now on. This place is complicated, full of all sorts of people. I'm not at ease. Next year when I graduate, I'll open a management company for myself. And make you the CEO. Then I'll buy you a house in the city center. Do you prefer a villa or a spacious apartment? Never mind, I'll buy both. You can live wherever you want. Diana's words stunned Bruce, as if his thoughts had been shattered. A sliver of remaining reason pulled him back to reality. Diana, where are we going to get that much money? And haven't you and Luffy divorced yet? A flicker of complacency crossed Diana's eyes. Bruce, wait a few months until I graduate. And then I'll sign a contract with Xylonin Entertainment, the biggest entertainment company. With the project director Joseph is preparing. You know? I'll be playing the female lead before long. Bruce's mouth dropped open into an, oh. Really? Of course it's real. Bruce, why don't you believe me? Don't worry, then, the designer goods you like, the cars you like, I'll buy them all for you. Bruce hugged Diana tightly. Diana, you're so good. Oh, I have a gift for you. Bruce pulled out an exquisite box from his pants pocket. This is a new ring from a private label. I took a long time choosing it. See if you like it. Diana was touched. She opened the box and took out the ring. Her face brightened slightly. The ring was made of 18K gold, set with cheap crystal stones. It looked elaborate but was ultimately ordinary. It was a cheap item that Diana in the previous life wouldn't even have glanced at. I remember it was the token of affection Bruce gave his future fiancée. Commenters. Actually, the ring is a bit ugly. Looks like this is the first step for the male and female leads to get together. Can't wait. I watched the scene, laughing inwardly. Even before graduation, Diana had received many designer gifts from me. Necklaces, rings, each one 10 times better than Bruce's. Not to mention the film resources that made her famous, each of which was secured by me utilizing the Wayne family's connections. Yet, she naively thought everything was due to her own talent. I smiled, holding the handbag Peter had sent tightly. Then pulled out a delicate necklace from my jacket. How do you like this one? It's a limited edition. I stopped by the mall today to buy it for her. Comments. The male supporting character is crazy. Gifting someone such an expensive watch, worth a house where I live. He probably wants to draw attention so the female lead regrets it later. But the female lead can buy all of that later, so why would she care? I ignored the scrolling comments, naturally pouring a sip of wine. Beside me, Peter widened his eyes and whispered in my ear. Seriously, you've already started making a move on the Parker family's young lady so quickly. Then Peter tempted me further. I heard the Parker young lady came here because she heard you were coming. I looked around for a long time. Then realized the girl in front of me, blinking her big, grape-like eyes, was the one I was going to be paired with. Her voice was soft. Luffy sent the necklace for me. Aren't you afraid your wife will be jealous? I shook my head. It's fine. Inside, another voice seemed delighted. Tomorrow is the divorce. Hearing that, a hint of joy flashed in the corner of Natasha's eye. I didn't object if she wanted to carry the gifts for me. If everything went smoothly, Natasha would be my future life partner. As I was about to clasp the necklace around Natasha's neck, a shout suddenly erupted from the other seating area. Don't touch it, that is clearly a gift for me. The speaker seemed to stop herself from saying more. I understood, she meant. That is clearly meant for her. I understood very well. In the previous life, Diana relied on those necklaces, bracelets, and handbags to maintain the image of a wealthy lady in showbiz. But now that she had the true love of her life, she surely wouldn't care about those mundane things anymore. I pretended not to hear, continuing to clasp the necklace. It suits you, but the color is a bit aging. I'll get you a new one next time. The phrase, I'll get a new one next time, annoyed the other party. That little thief completely fell into the trap alone. She will be hated even more by the female lead later. Not far away, Diana even sneered. Spending your parents' money to show off your wealth. These rich kids really have money but don't know how to use it. It's much more satisfying to earn and spend your own money. Bruce remained silent. I laughed coldly inside. The last time I knelt outside the old family mansion to ask the patriarch to approve the marriage between Diana and me. They said if I wanted to marry Diana, I had to give up the inheritance that belonged to me. I agreed. Now the money I spend is all self-earned. And the amount I used to organize the wedding for Diana was the bonus from a new project I received today. When we divorce, she won't get anything. The next day, the Wayne family lawyer prepared the divorce agreement. Since the assets belonging to me were very few, the division of assets was not difficult. Soon after the agreement was transferred, Diana came to the gate of my house. Luffy, are you joking? I don't get a single penny from the divorce? According to the asset division plan, Diana not only didn't get a penny, but also had to pay back the surgery costs and the medicine costs I had paid for her mother, including the designer items I had given her. I could even sue her for marriage fraud. But compared to those legal measures, I wanted to see even more. How Diana would live happily with her childhood sweetheart when she didn't have a penny. I raised my eyebrow at her, saying casually, at that time, to marry you, I cut ties with my family. Of course, I didn't get a single penny of the Wayne family's assets. Diana was furious. But you're still the eldest grandson of the Wayne family. How can you not give me any money? What kind of eldest grandson has no money in his hands? I laughed coldly. Why are you suddenly so interested in money? Didn't you say you wanted to find the true love of your life? I guess true love has to dig wells for money now, too, huh? Diana's face flushed with anger at my words. She threw the divorce papers directly at my face, saying smugly, even if I divorce you, I'll still have money later. Just as she was about to leave, she received a phone call, and her face instantly changed. What? The treatment fee is all used up? And I need to pay 30,000 more? After hanging up, Diana looked at me with a serious expression. Luffy, did you pull some strings? Didn't you transfer 2 million to my mother's nursing home? How could it all be gone? I chuckled. Diana, that was the Wayne family's money, not yours. You're right. I'm just a useless rich kid who only knows how to spend my parents' money. Besides, didn't I say you have to take care of the medical bills yourself now? Diana gave a cold laugh. I knew it. You thought this would make me obediently come back and be your little wife. Dream on. No matter what tricks you use. Bruce and I will get through this. After saying that, she turned her back and made a call. Bruce, can you lend me 30,000 for now? My mother's hospital bill needs to be paid urgently. A bitter laugh came from the other end. Diana, I'm sorry. A flash of shame and anger crossed Diana's eyes. Then she grabbed her phone and ran outside. I only faintly heard her voice in the hallway. It's only 30,000. How can you not even have that much? You don't want to lend it to me, do you? Don't worry, Bruce. I won't cheat you. I'll start filming in a few months. And I'll send it back immediately when I get paid. On the live comment screen, the words streamed densely. OMG, this male supporting character is so petty. He's calculating things with the female lead even after the divorce. This is clearly the male supporting character's trick. He wants to force the female lead to come back. But honestly, the female lead is too poor now. When will the female lead fight back? I'm so annoyed. I looked at those words and gave a cold laugh. From what I saw in the previous life, Bruce had once latched onto a rich girlfriend. And only by relying on his wife's family's capital and connections did he achieve what he has today. Someone like that, losing their support, what can he possibly achieve? Sure enough, before long, I saw a new comment. Bruce lent Diana $5,000. Although not much. It was all of his savings. At the same time, Diana also sold some designer items online. It seemed she gathered over $200,000. But it was still not enough for her mother's medical expenses. And that no longer had anything to do with me. I was once foolish, thinking that loving someone meant shielding them from all storms. But I forgot. There is always a gap between people. There are some people, even if you shield them from everything, they will still turn around and scold you as a lowlife. Therefore, the best way is to keep distance and respect each other. That day, when I went to give Natasha a birthday gift, it suddenly occurred to me. Diana also studied at this university. As I stepped out of the car, holding the carefully selected bouquet of roses, I caught sight of her standing at the school gate, holding a cup of bubble tea, with Bruce beside her. As soon as she saw me, her eyebrows furrowed so tightly they could squeeze a fly to death. You think just bringing a bouquet of flowers means I'll forgive you? Let me tell you, when I become famous later, there will be a star effect. Oh well, you wouldn't understand. On the comment screen, a flurry of words immediately appeared in support of me. The female lead is indeed the ultimate heroine. So cool. This male supporting character is really clingy like a leech. Stay away from the female lead. I listened to her words, frowning in thought. What exactly did I see in her before? While I was deep in thought, a small figure, like a butterfly, rushed over and hugged me. Luffy, why are you here? I gently touched the girl's nose and smiled tenderly. Of course, I came to pick you up. Diana stood next to us, stunned as if struck by lightning. Luffy, even if you want to provoke me, you don't need to hire our school's beauty queen to act with you. Do you? I looked up, my eyes carrying clear sarcasm. Diana, aren't you overestimating yourself? Natasha took the opportunity to show off the ring on her hand. Luffy gave this to me. We're engaged. And we're having the wedding next week. Seeing the Wayne family's heirloom diamond ring, Diana ground her teeth. Impossible. Before, because of my status, I wasn't even allowed to wear it. How could she have it? That clearly belongs to me. Luffy, as long as you give that ring to me, maybe I'll let go of my anger and overlook what happened last time. The comments exploded again. I can't take it anymore. She's really crazy. The male supporting character doesn't seem to be harassing the female lead at all. Diana is the one who's losing it here. Huh? Why is the female lead suddenly saying such strange things? She seems to have a goldfish memory. Before I could answer, Natasha pulled me away, saying coldly, "Are you out of your mind? You two are divorced. Do you still think Luffy likes you? If he really liked you, he wouldn't have divorced you in the first place. Besides, who cheated first? Now that you see Luffy is doing well, do you regret it? I've never seen anyone so shameless. Luffy, let's go." I smiled at Natasha, and we left the school gate together. Not long after, Natasha and I posted on social media, officially announcing our marriage. Last time with Diana, the marriage was not recognized by the family, so I didn't announce it on other platforms. Now that I was officially with Natasha, I frankly shared with friends in the industry that I had been cuckolded by Diana. As the one who suffered in the marriage, I had no reason to be ashamed. On the wedding day, Diana was blocked outside the venue. She claimed loudly that she was mine. But as a former wife, the guard let her in. The guard didn't dare to make trouble because he wasn't sure of her identity. I took the chance before the ceremony began to go outside and check. As soon as she saw me, Diana pushed the guard's hand away. See? I told you I was Luffy's ex-wife. Do you guards believe me now? After saying that, she looked at me arrogantly. You should have some boundaries. I didn't expect you to actually marry someone else just to annoy me. Well, let's forget about the past. Even though your words were harsh before, it was only because you loved me. Soon after, Diana's phone rang again. On the other end, her mother's voice was weak. Diana, is the money ready? She hung up the phone in embarrassment. A trace of awkwardness flashed in her eyes when looking at me. But it immediately turned into arrogance. It seemed in her eyes. I was supposed to implicitly endure all of her unreasonableness. Consider this money a temporary loan from me. My mother's medical expenses are still short about 20,000. For you, it's just a small amount, just transfer it, and it's done. I won't bother you anymore. Since reading the comments, I had guessed. In the previous life, I must have spoiled her. Which made her so undisciplined. Thinking she could rely on my love to arbitrarily oppress and look down on me. I looked at Diana, saying word by word, I don't owe you, you need to understand that. She seemed not to have expected me to say that. I've given you a way out. What more do you want? The comments continued to explode. This male supporting character is a bit too rude now. This is too much. Is the person above you okay? He's married now. What is the ex-wife doing dancing and singing here? I didn't want to hear more, so I turned to head back to the party. Diana grabbed my arm again. Fine, I apologize first this time. I really shouldn't have suggested divorce on the third day after the wedding. I should have given you more time to prepare emotionally. Okay, don't be angry anymore, transfer the money. This is about a life. We can't let my mother die, right? I pushed her hand away. Try to understand clearly. You have no money and you come to beg me. How can you be so shameless? Begging for money yet still expecting me to bow down to you? Wanting it and demanding it? There's no such good thing. Diana looked at me with hatred. Fine, since you've said this much. I advise you not to regret it. This is your future. Afterward, I didn't see Diana for a month. Besides a few scattered comments. And her appearing in live streams. Natasha and I enjoyed a happy honeymoon. Through the comments, I also gathered information on Diana. Recently, when the director was casting for the new project, she ran there but was rejected. Bruce heard the news and quietly reminded her to repay the debt. Diana was still dreaming of becoming famous. Even borrowing money to open a failed bubble tea shop. Before long, from the comments, I learned she was pregnant. Sure enough, not long after, she asked to meet me. Unlike before, this time she seemed quite confident. At the coffee shop. As soon as we met, she threw the ultrasound result in front of me. I'm pregnant with your child. I picked it up and looked at the result. The fetus was 10 weeks old, right around the time we divorced. I raised an eyebrow. How can I be sure it's mine? The awkwardness in Diana's eyes flashed and disappeared. But I still noticed it. Of course it's yours. Whose else would it be? I lifted my coffee cup and slowly said, Diana, you like Bruce so much. It might very well be his, don't you think? I knew it was mine. Primarily because the comments stated. In the previous life, Diana became pregnant at this exact time. I only said that to provoke her. Diana stroked her belly, as if calculating her next move. During the time after the divorce, I've thought it through. You are, after all, a Wayne. How can I become a star without your support later? Therefore, I'll be direct. Let's go straight to remarriage. I looked at Diana, whose face was like an underdeveloped child's. And suddenly she fell silent. I didn't know why she was silent. Nor did I know through which lens she determined that I still loved her. Luffy. Last time, I heard. Besides the Wayne family assets, you also have your own company, right? That's good. After marriage, I'll help you manage those assets. It wouldn't be safe to let someone else manage them. For the remarriage, I won't demand much, just a few small requests. The wedding must cost at least 8.8 million. Because I didn't demand much for our previous wedding. After paying off my father's gambling debts, there was basically nothing left, so 8.8 million is just to show your affection. To prove that you still love me. Of course, the wedding money is only the minimum. Afterward, every month, just like before, You'll open a black card for me with 10,000 in cash. What I use it for is my right, you cannot interfere. That pigeon's egg ring on Natasha's hand. Since it is the status symbol of a Wayne daughter-in-law, I must take it back. Guarantee to provide me with a few excellent films every year. Because I still want to be an actress. I need good scripts, which I will select first. I looked at Diana, she closed her mouth. Suddenly enlightened. It must be exhausting for her to come up with so many conditions. Any other conditions? Diana softly scoffed, as if she thought I had agreed. Those are the conditions for now. If I think of anything else later, I'll let you know. I nodded. Are you done talking? Then I'll leave now. Luffy, what do you mean? I don't agree. Diana stared wide-eyed. Are you crazy? I said I want to remarry. And you don't agree? I looked at her in surprise. Do you think I would want to be your husband again? Are you a fairy from heaven? Or a universally loved coin? That you think I must come back to you? I once loved you. But not to this extent. Furthermore, Natasha and I are compatible in age. We care about each other. And grow together. It's not like when I was with you. I was a dog for you all by myself, right? Diana was startled for a moment. But quickly recovered. I made mistakes before, but I will care for and look after you more in the future. You don't need the wedding money. Just Natasha's ring and the right to choose scripts. I looked at the person talking to herself in front of me. Then turned and walked away. Communicating with Diana was no different than talking to a cow. She shouted. You can't leave. If you leave, you'll never find me again. You'll regret it for the rest of your life. I smiled faintly, walking straight ahead. It would be good for me to never find you again for the rest of my life. After some consideration, to prevent Diana from doing anything impulsive, I decided to take Natasha on a trip abroad for a while. She said she hadn't had enough fun during the last honeymoon. While I was watching the northern lights in Iceland, I received a message from my mother. Diana caused trouble earlier, claiming she was pregnant. Is it your child? I secretly replied, no. Because a few days ago, after Diana came to talk to me about the pregnancy, I saw in the comments. To prove the child was mine, Diana went for an amniocentesis. But the result? The child was indeed not mine. The comments at the time were raging wildly. Divorced and no money. The agreement is inflexible, and she cheated. She doesn't even know who the real father is. But I didn't expect Diana to go to the old house to find my mother. My mother was very serious. Luffy. Even though I know you are with Natasha now. If the child is truly yours, you must take responsibility. I reassured her. The child was checked with amniocentesis, it's not mine. Only then did my mother relax. I had wasted tens of years of my youth. Just running after a person who didn't care about me at all. As for Diana, the final result was bearing the consequences herself. I put my phone in my pocket. Natasha rushed over to me. Honey, why are you so pensive late at night? If you can't sleep, let's make a baby. Looking at Natasha, radiant like a peach blossom, I couldn't help but kiss her. On the other end, Diana was chased out of the mansion by her mother. Finally unable to contain her emotions, she began to realize. She seemed to have truly ruined a perfect marriage. In the previous life, she lived in a mansion, drove luxury cars, had countless designer handbags, not to mention the piled-up film resources. Although her acting skills were poor then, I still tried everything. Hiring teachers, encouraging her step by step, telling her she would improve and become a superstar. But now, the cost of her mother's nursing home alone was enough to overwhelm her. Not to mention having to film. She once went to a set, but the directors only gave her obscure supporting roles, which felt like an insult. When she was frustrated, her mother called again. Daughter, the medical expenses are 2 months overdue. Haven't you borrowed the money yet? Where is your husband? He's a young master, isn't he? Quickly call him to pay. Diana exploded. Money, money, money. Why do I have to bear all the burden when there's no money? I'm not a child anymore, why should I suffer alone? When we got married, I gave you 5 million. But you were so foolish. You knew my father was addicted to gambling but still gave all the money to him. Her mother was stunned, speechless by the sudden outburst of anger. After a moment, she sighed again, murmuring as usual. You've truly grown up, become tough and heartless. Since you don't care about your mother, I only have death left. The nagging words from the phone made Diana unable to listen further. Having lost everything, now she only had the option of returning to Bruce's rented house. She remembered in the previous life, Bruce also had a future, started his own company, and was very wealthy. Even if Luffy didn't want her child, she could still rely on her status and reputation. But now, Bruce was truly still poor. Even the few thousand she borrowed, he kept reminding her about. Late at night, Diana clung to Bruce's arm. Will you marry me? Bruce was annoyed. He was having fun at a bar. Had some doubts about a young lady. But suddenly heard Diana say she wanted to support him. And he foolishly believed her. He not only lost his job but also emptied all his savings for her. When the director opened casting for the new film, Diana was not chosen for the main role at all. Although she boasted about her connections with the director and seniors, people still didn't recognize her. Bruce suspected. Did Diana have a mental problem? Bruce had to use soothing words. I will marry you. This sentence finally made Diana sleep soundly. The next day, when she woke up, Bruce was gone, only leaving a piece of paper. Something came up at home. I left first. Afterward, Bruce even deleted her phone number. Blocked all social media, leaving only the piece of paper and $1, clearly marked as abortion money. Diana collapsed, screaming in the rented house. That bastard. Clearly, she could have had everything. Clearly, she was cherished and loved in the previous life. Why had everything changed completely now? Angry and disappointed, Diana sighed, taking a call from the set. The main couple's sweet moments are unbearable to watch. Please leave. She tried to watch the sweet romance. It was very sweet over there. Who knows, maybe there would be another twist later. She waited a little longer. But in less than half a day, Diana had stabilized her emotions. She wanted to build her career here. And then make Luffy regret it for the rest of his life. When Diana used the last $1 to abort the child, she only had $500 left in her pocket. She rented an apartment, neither too big nor too small, near the set, preparing to start filming. But she didn't expect life here to be much harder than imagined. And the people around her were both beautiful and talented, and had good family backgrounds. She was too ordinary. To the point where some producers and directors of small film crews looked at her with vulgar eyes, implying that she could use her body to quickly gain opportunities. But this time, Diana was wiser. She no longer used her body to gain any resources. 3 years of silent effort. She went from being an extra and a supporting role to a minor supporting role with a few lines next to the main character. But this small achievement made Diana consider giving up. In her original imagination, in 3 years, she should at least be a well-known second female lead. But the ideal and reality were too far apart. Effort alone was not enough. She began to miss me intensely. Even though 3 years had passed, I loved her deeply in the previous life, holding her hand even near death. Next life, you must find me sooner, so you don't have to endure so much hardship. Diana took the trouble to find Peter. Peter was surprised to see her. Why are you here? Do you want to discuss my brother and sister-in-law again? I'm telling you the truth. My brother has settled in England with my sister-in-law. There's no chance of him coming back. Look at yourself. Do you think you're still an 18-year-old girl that you want to seduce my brother? Diana forced a strained smile. 3 years of filming, her salary was only enough to support herself. It was no longer like the previous life, with plenty of money to take care of herself. Not to mention having to support her vampire younger brother and parents. She had been staking out Luffy's house for 2 Lunar New Years. And after 5 years of separation, she finally saw me again. She didn't care about anything else and rushed to kneel in front of me. Luffy, I was wrong. I don't want anything. Can we remarry? Do you still have feelings for me? Diana tightly hugged my legs, sobbing uncontrollably. My wife was startled by the scene, and quickly waved her hand, signaling Natasha to go inside first. In front of me, Diana was crying to the point of forgetting everything. Only she knew how much hardship she had endured since the divorce. This was her only chance. But I no longer felt an ounce of pity. Our relationship is over. There's no need to cling to the past. Diana still held on tightly, not letting go. Have you forgotten? The person you loved the most was me. Even though I cheated, scolded you, and was cold to you, you still didn't leave me. I frowned, looking at her. So, would you love someone who cheated, scolded, and was cold to you? Caught off guard by the counter question, Diana pondered. I continued. I am a normal person. I long for normal affection. I've advised you sincerely. And this life is a path you chose yourself. As an adult, you must be responsible for your choices. But Diana no longer heard anything, continuously muttering. Impossible, impossible, you're not Luffy. I have to go find him. I stared at her for a moment, then sighed as I watched Diana run out. I sighed and signaled to the guard a few words before turning away. If not for love, I wouldn't have clung to Diana for so long in the previous life. But is that kind of love, which makes one fall into such turmoil for a lifetime, truly worth it? I had a new life. As for Diana, she was only a past that was not worth mentioning.